Okay. Um, one, two, three, play. Ding. This is so cool. Yes.
I love it. I love the flashbacks.
I know.
Coordinate search and rescue. On my way down to coordinate search and rescue. I mean, honestly, how do you need to be shut?
Here we go. Straight from Endgame and on to Disney Plus.
They said they get right to it in this one. They don't do the nonsense. So
Well, they're doing a little bit of the nonsense with the intro, but I love this kind of nonsense.
you have to do this with Marvel.
Yeah. Wish they had the music though. Come on now. This is the first episode. Give us the
It's
original
It's gonna be dramatic music.
and green.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Oh my god. Can't believe we're in June already. Like, this is so crazy. Okay, now where did he land?
Are you Genghis Khan?
Right. Here he goes on his soapbox.
I'm Loki of Asgard, and I am burdened with glorious purpose.
I'm a god. Uh-oh. Oh, Wally.
Shit, I need one of those.
Wow.
Hang on just a minute.
Where's Goose? That should have been Goose.
Agreed.
Find this too.
I bet Goose is somewhere clawing at his TV screen.
Or Nick Fury's other eye.
True. I just really love how they're doing this because it's making me more excited for Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, they're going the right way.
Mm-hmm. And they just started filming Ant-Man and the Wasp too.
Your temporal. What's that? Please through the door.
I would love an entire year of like just 12 Marvel movies, one a month. That would be
Oh,
awesome.
oh my God, we'd be in heaven on earth, like just. But this year is kind of like that with the shows and the films, so we're being spoiled.
Yeah.
That's what the DMV looks like now, since nobody can go in there.
Everything's open out here, so it's
out here.
You don't even need a mask. It's hilarious.
Oh wow, that's good.
This is a mistake. I shouldn't be here.
We're almost there. Almost.
You're probably saying this is a mistake. I shouldn't even be here.
Is that Miss Minutes?
Welcome to the Time Variance Authority. I'm Miss Minutes, and it's my job to catch you up before you stand trial for your crimes. So let's not waste another minute. Settle in, sharpen your pencils, and check this out.
So many time-related puns.
There was a vast multiversal war. Countless unique timelines battled each other for supremacy, nearly resulting in the total destruction of, well, everything. But then the all-knowing timekeepers emerged, bringing peace by reorganizing the multiverse into a single timeline. The sacred timeline. Now, the timekeepers protect and preserve the proper flow of time for everyone and everything. But sometimes people like you veer off the path the timekeepers created. We call those variants. Maybe you started an uprising, or were just late for work. Whatever it was, stepping off your path created a nexus event, which left unchecked could branch off into madness, leading into another multiversal war.
Ah.
Don't worry. To make sure that doesn't happen, the Timekeepers created the TVA and all its incredible workers.
It's like the Jetsons.
The TVA has stepped in to fix your
I was about to say the same thing.
on its predetermined path. Now that your actions have left you without a place on the timeline, you must stand trial for your offenses. So sit tight and we'll get you in front of a judge in no time. Just make sure you have your ticket and you'll be seen by the next available attendant. For all time. Always.
It's kind of scary in a way.
Very.
Something tells me that this is going to start off kind of kooky like WandaVision, but then get really, really dark towards the end.
Or comedic dark. He's always had a like comedic scene.
Mm-hmm. Oh, here we go. Owen Wilson looks really good gray. Like it doesn't look bad on him.
Not at all.
I almost didn't recognize him at first in the trailers. I wonder if they live inside of the quantum realm, like that little city that's supposed to be in there, where Doctor Doom ruled in the comics.
That would be awesome.
Where the Fantastic Four might be. I know.
And the X-Men?
Yep. It shoots Franklin Richards, because why not? I know. I thought it was interesting too when they showed the animation of the three timekeepers. The middle one looked like Jonathan Majors as Kang.
They talked about that being a wide open door too.
Yeah.
It is. And unfortunately, so is all the paperwork. Good thing to for your fire though.
It looks so much like Jonathan Majors. I was like, man.
That's another department. Now that department will help you burn down.
So is he going to be chasing Mephisto or looking for Mephisto this season? That's what I wonder.
Probably, which leads to Kang.
Of course.
The idea that your little club decides the fate of trillions of people across all of existence at the behest of three space lizards. Yes, it's funny. It's absurd. Well, you didn't like to talk. After you.
Interesting how he called them space lizards, since in the comics they are the people who lived in that city are lizards, like the lizard man or the lizard from Spider-Man.
It's the Easter eggs. They have to throw them in there.
Yeah.
Sorry, the time twister just loops you, not the furniture. You weren't born to be king, Loki. You were born to cause pain.
Pain and suffering and death. That's how it is. That's how it was.
And it will be. All so that others can achieve their best versions of themselves.
That's an awful like reality to, or an awful realization to come to.
Yeah, like, hey, you, the redheaded stepchild.
Pretty much, you're here to, oh yeah. You're here to make everyone look good, like it's crazy.
What is this place?
My brother used to say that he only hangs around not so good looking people so that they can make him look good. I was like, that's crazy.
What are you doing?
My job.
Why do you think I'm on this cast?
We have a situation.
Couldn't resist. Sorry.
What?
Those Infinity Stones? I love how there's a soul stone
They
just
look like
lying
it.
around.
Yep.
How do you have these?
Oh, we actually got a lot of those. Some of the guys use them as paperweights.
Oh my god. It's like going to your parents' job and looking through their drawer and you see all this candy. Yeah. It's like, how are they not eating all this candy yet? Why is it still here? I'm just gonna take some.
I think he's realizing how fucked up this is. Like,
And how powerless he is in there. If they got Infinity Stones lying around and he is a Tesseract, like there's nowhere for him to go. He's like, this is all meaningless. What am I doing this for? I need to change now that I'm on Disney Plus.
What is the greatest power?
Yo, I love how the MCU has so much footage and so much such a grand catalog. So much continuity that they can pull from all that. To remind us of things like this.
And they're not afraid to use it in the shows. Like that's the best part. Like they're not hiding any of it.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing. Like no matter how good or bad an MCU project is, the fact that it ties into a larger story is what's always going to make us all just watch. You
It's all
know.
connected.
Yeah. DC, take notes. Get you a Kevin Feige.
What's so funny?
Now you'd think that him seeing all that stuff would have made him better.
Listen, I can't offer you salvation. But maybe I can offer you something better. Legion of Variant's been killing our Minutemen. And you need the God of Mischief to help you something. That's right. The variant we're hunting is you. I beg your pardon?
What?
Probably Lady Loki. It's so crazy. Thanos was like scouring the universe for Infinity Stones, and all he had to do was go to the TVA and look through someone's desk drawer. If only he knew. Yes. Okay. So, what did you think of this episode?
I mean, I'm waiting to see if it's the end because it's what I expected between the two players. Because this was the preview.
This one was just okay.
Yeah.
It's funny. The first episode of WandaVision, I loved it again because I love Nick at Night stuff. But I know a lot of people they're like, "What the heck is this?" But at least with that, it was still like the pacing was good and it was entertaining, even though a lot of people didn't know what was going on. But with this one had a lot of downtime, and it was just if it wasn't Loki, it'd be boring. But because it's Loki, I was fascinated, but I wasn't like entertained. I was just fascinated. I wanted to see where it was going. Um, it's it seemed like they wasted a lot of time. They could have done so much more, especially with it being like 6 episodes. So, but I still I appreciate a lot of exposition, especially when it explains a lot. But this didn't really explain. Well, it explained a lot in the beginning with the TVA. I love that. But towards the end, it was just like a bunch of just like tomfoolery, pretty much. They could have summed up everything in like 2 minutes. But it's it connects to a bigger story. So if there's nothing else for me to hang on to, I can hang on to that. Like this is all going to mean something in the grand scheme of things.
I don't believe the part where it's him is the bad guy.
I don't believe that either. I think it's
I
probably Lady
think it's
Loki.
somebody pretending to be him because they know that he's loose on the timeline.
Hmm.
That ending shows that yes, they're trying to eliminate people, but is it a systematic end to the TVA? Where where they're just trying to eliminate people, period, so that they have less of an opposition. Like you said, why didn't Thanos go into the TVA? Well, if the stones are powerless there, maybe he already knew that, or maybe he doesn't know of the TVA because, let's be honest, never been spoken about before.
And Loki didn't even know it too, because he knows about all that stuff. So you would think, so if Loki didn't know it, Thanos didn't know it more than likely.
Right. My biggest thing is that I believe honestly that this leads to something bigger.
Mhm.
Mephisto. I mean, I don't think they're gonna reintroduce Dormammu through Loki. Could lead to the
No.
Fantastic Four, could lead to the X-Men. That could be a time variant where, he just magically pulls him through. Like we thought it was going to be Scarlet Witch because of the mutant aspect, but maybe this is it. I don't know. They're starting to talk about casting. I know that.
Yeah.
I don't. This is a good episode. I liked, Owen Wilson versus him, and that's exactly what I expected out of the first one. I wanted to see him do more havoc before they interfered.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, really
5
get it
seconds
like
in was because I thought I heard somewhere or read somewhere that he was going to have a little bit of a reign of terror for a minute, and then they'd step in. And when you say a minute, it was 30 seconds. That's not what I expected.
I guess time works differently depending on who's telling you the story, or
Right.
they're like, oh, he did all this stuff and it was great, and yeah, they failed to mention it. He did all that in 10 seconds of the show, and we have a whole 40 or 51 minutes of show, well, really 41 minutes, because of the credits. Yeah, I mean, it's a decent start, like, because it's Loki. I'm always fascinated and always entertained, even if I'm bored, because it's just the character is so compelling. And there's some shows that are like that where I'm bored stiff, even though I love the show, but the characters, like Breaking Bad, everybody loved that. I didn't really think it was a fantastic show, but I thought that the acting was fantastic and the chemistry between the characters was fantastic. And that those two things alone kept me watching all the way till season 4, episode 7. I'm still waiting for this big thing, amazing thing to happen that people were talking about. Never happened. So I had to kind of just let it go because I had to actually work. So, but
Sure. I mean, listen. I appreciate The Office, but there are people that absolutely love it and adore it, and I'm like, I prefer Parks and Rec more in
yeah.
that same setting. It's just more of my show because that one had, I don't know how to put it. Like, there were awkward moments which you're supposed to have in those, but like
Mhm.
there was more character driven content of how to design and build character, whereas this was just like jokes, pranks, and I'm like, okay, cool. You knew who was going to fall in love the minute you watched the first show. It's like, so.
Yeah, it's kind of predetermined. It's just obvious in a lot of ways. And I mean, we like obvious when it comes to certain things, but we like a little bit of mystery, even in shows that don't take themselves too seriously. Even in a comedy, we love a bit of a challenge. We love to see people have story arcs. Even if it's not a serial, we still enjoy having something to look forward to or imagine, or um
I
you
was I
know
was having a good conversation about DC versus Marvel and why DC didn't connect, and
hmm
what they didn't do at Warner Brothers is realize that Marvel knew that the heroes were the story with Marvel.
hmm
With DC, it's the villains.
yeah.
It really is, because I mean, Batman's a cut and dry superhero. He's rich, cool,
and,
and
and
they
he's
make
and
fun
he's
of
done
that in Justice League.
and he's done
Um,
it all already too, like in,
right?
in like 10 movies.
Yeah. Well, Superman shows up on Earth. He has powers. Okay, cut and dry. Woohoo! I'm really fast. Flash. I'm a cyborg. Woohoo! It's the character development isn't there as far as the heroes. But then you look at like character like the Joker. Listen, that character alone has won 2 Oscars now in the past how many
hmm
years? Well, I mean, I look at it from the standpoint of like that's even the Penguin, like
yeah.
they didn't become bad people until something befell them. Like
hmm like how it
Some
does
of
to the
them work,
heroes in Marvel. You would think that
right?
same thing would happen to the heroes in DC, but
No,
Batman, maybe Batman's one of the only ones I could think of that actually is a hero because something bad happens to, like, and that's relatable. His parents were killed, so he wants to, like,
mhm.
same with Peter Parker. But in DC, I think Batman's really the only person I could think of that actually had tragedy befall him.
I mean,
Um,
Aquaman's kind of cool because Aquaman is Aquaman.
yeah,
And I'm sorry, we haven't seen Namor yet, but I'm hearing in Black Panther 2 he's going to show up. So like we'll see what happens there. I just hope they don't try to outdo it, and I really hope that they don't try to give him too many movies because that would be a
yeah,
mistake because they cast Aquaman so perfectly that it's going to be disgusting if they go up against it. Um, but that's the whole thing. Like, Wonder Woman was Wonder Woman, but she was of a different like class. So like she's like the Thor,
hmm
like it's just completely different. And Martian Manhunter, cool. Now we've got a Nova. Like it is what it is. So I enjoy it, but
yeah. It's DC. Somebody said this one time in an article. It never left me. They said DC characters are about as two-dimensional as the paper that they're printed on. And I said, you know what? I love them, but whoever wrote this article is not wrong. I love the DC characters, but they are very two-dimensional. Sometimes some of them have relatable moments, but as a whole, most of them just aren't relatable, and especially compared to the Marvel characters. I mean, Marvel, you can just name three characters: Rogue, Nightcrawler, Jubilee, Scott Summers. Like, they've all been through things. Scott was an orphan. He's separated from his brother. They both took the last parachute that they had to hold on to together when their parents' plane caught fire. Then later we learned that the Shi'ar had captured the parents and killed the mother, and then Corsair went on a warpath, and then all that stuff. But
I mean, look at the arguably the most powerful mutant of all time, which would be Jean Grey, in my opinion. So
yes,
not only do they take her and they make her more powerful,
right.
they turn her into the Phoenix, which was a great thing.
hmm
She was a good force, but then like that ultimate power corrupt. I don't, like there's so many different variants of this, but like it makes it so like they kept redefining them. Now, I mean, nowadays they redo all of the comics every 2 years, which pisses me the fuck off.
Yeah,
But that's also because nobody reads anymore. So I mean, there's that's the part that needs to go away. Like, okay, we're good. Like we've got enough characters to build off of. Do it in the cinematic universe and just be done with it.
yeah,
So,
yeah. But now they've been doing this thing for years where they make the characters in the comics look a lot like the actors who are playing them in the movies. But it's funny with Samuel L. Jackson, they made him, Nick Fury, look like him in the Ultimate X-Men, in the Ultimate Shield, or in the Ultimate Comics, like back in 2006, I believe. And then he picked up one of the comics at Midtown Comics in Manhattan. He was like, why does Nick Fury look like me? And then he called his agent and said, did we license my likeness to Marvel? And the agent was like, well, yeah, about that. Marvel called and said that they would love to have you play Nick Fury. What do you say? Nick said, sure, I like comics, clearly, since you're calling me from a comic book shop, yeah, sign me up. How much they gonna pay me? So, um, but yeah, DC is just, I think DC, they've been resting on their laurels for so long, and then when the MCU came out, it's like you can't rest on your laurels anymore, because the MCU, they did something that DC should have done, which is making an
no,
interconnected
I mean, didn't
universe.
DC act what 12 years too late?
Yeah, but in DC, I mean, their characters became famous in the late 60s from the Batman show. Like, that's why Batman, Superman, and Wonder
No,
Woman.
I mean, I agree with you wholeheartedly. But even then, if you look at the Batman show, yeah, I love Adam West, I love Burt Ward. But the characters what drove that show,
Yeah.
or I'm sorry, the villains
The
are.
villains.
Like it was what it was. So I mean, but
And of course, the word that I just always have difficulty pronouncing, onomatopoeia, matimapia.
onomatopoeia.
Yeah, onomatopoeia. Yeah. Or There you go. Oh, sorry, T'Challa. Let me. Okay, I have to do this in reverse since I'm looking at the camera. Oops, reverse. Pow. I found that for like $10 at Hobby Lobby, and that was before I got the Stan Lee poster. And then I got the Stan Lee poster. I said, "Oh, this is like perfect." I guess Stan was with me at the Hobby Lobby, saying, "Get get that one. You'll never regret it." You know, you do voice impressions way better than I do. So,
I would have to study it first. I've never tried to do his because like there's that certain like accent that he has,
uh,
but it's distinct. But I
let me
will.
let me hear your final thought, final sentence, final anything. Ah,
I'm optimistic. Not even cautiously. I'm optimistic. It's on the right path. I want something defined in the next episode. I don't want to
yeah,
wait two or three. And I know they're great at cliffhangers, but I need something clear and cut for me, right off the bat. And I love Falcon and Winter Soldier because I knew something was going on with somebody, and you could guess who, and you could almost tell that, you say Emily's not Emily, but it's there were seeds there. We don't know who anybody is in this one, and that's
yeah,
again like WandaVision. Okay, I mean, if there's six of them by episode 2, we should know who the villain is because then you're going to build up the conflict for the next 2 episodes. Have the
yeah.
penultimate episode 5, and then the fallout in episode 6 if the writing is correct. So I mean, we need to know next season or next episode. So
I agree, and so does the child and Slimer. He's so excited, can't you tell? Uh, well, all right, Brendan. Well, we should do this again next week. Thank you for all the 3 people who are watching this out there on the interwebs. Hopefully, it's 3,000 of you, but I'll take it what I can get. And have a good night over there. 2 hours ahead.
see you later. I need sleep.
Yes, yes. I'm gonna take me some NyQuil Z's right after this because it's hard for my brain to stop unless it's drugged up sometimes. So
I'm with you on that one.
yes. All right, we'll do this again. Same Loki time, same Loki
Okay, fucking
place.
please.
All right, ciao.
Talk to you later. You
Okay.
bet.